That is what we call it. Birth control is baby murder. It is in the Bible. Look it up. Look it up. It might not be in your Bible, but Dad wrote it in this Bible right here. I'm Michelle Duggar, and I have 19 wonderful kids. With the coronavirus going on recently, social distancing hasn't really been very difficult, for me at least, because it's been years since I've hugged any of my children. Jim Bob, on the other hand, he's a different story. He can't keep his hands off me for more than 5 minutes. He can't even keep himself outside of me for more than 5 minutes. I just love that about my Jim Bob. Hi, I'm Jessa Duggar. Of all the daughters, I actually have the most children. Not to brag, but to brag. Considering that Jana is 30 and hasn't already popped out 12 kids by now, she's kind of a failure. I'm Jana Duggar. Us girls always had long hair. My hair's a little short. Forgive me, Father, for my hair is too short right now. Way too short. My hair is way too short. You might as well call it a pixie cut. My dad always said I love long hair on young girls. I'm Ginger Duggar, so I look a little different. I'm a blonde. I'm blonde now. My husband wanted me to go blonde because now we're in LA. That's what the people down here call it. They call it LA. They don't call it, this is little Ivy. Isn't she adorable? Isn't she cute? I just love kids. She is the apple of my eye. It's not the parents' right to decide how many kids they want. That is up to God. We all know that any sort of birth control is murder. It is homicide, okay? Even if you pull out those all over your bed, you have homicide now all over your bed. Your sheets are now covered in abortion. As my parents told us, we could have had a 20th sibling, but because their birth control caused them to miscarriage, we no longer have that chance to have that 20th sibling. Or in my case, my 19th kid. I actually didn't even want children, but God knew way better than I did. Way better. Son of a bitch. LA has rubbed off a little bit on me. You know, I've become a little bit of a rebel. My husband and I watched Wreck-It Ralph the other night. I know, don't tell my mom. I would have to say that my favorite memory of my mother is when she first discovered she was going through menopause. Our daughters have so many options when they grow up as far as aspirations go, okay? They could be a mother, a wife, a homemaker, that's it. My mother always told us girls, dating is for sex addicts and whores. What most people that aren't in our cult don't understand is that dating is all about self-centeredness, self-gratification, lust, personal pleasure. Courtship, on the other hand, that is what leads to successful marriages, okay? Just look at Josh and Anna. My dad was a little enraged when he found out I dyed my hair blonde. But then when he saw it, he said I looked super sexy. So then he was like, okay with it. Courtship is that special time in a woman's life when she finally finds her purpose. Because before she finds her man, she is literally nothing. I was literally nothing before I met my Jim Bob. My dad always said that purity is #1 in a woman's life. Purity is like a bicycle. When you fornicate before marriage, you are basically a ruined bicycle. No one's gonna wanna ride on you after that. The only value that us girls bring to the table is our untouched lady parts. With courtship, you are choosing purity. In fact, the person who created these courtship rules really loved purity. He loved it so much. His favorite type of person to go after was underage girls. I remember my father telling us girls that Being with someone who had already experienced physical relations outside of marriage was literally like drinking from a cup that 100 different people had spat into. Okay, you don't know what kind of venereal diseases, womanly cancers, or problems can result from being with someone who had experienced such a risky life involving frontal hugs and hand holding, or God forbid, eye contact. I'm an influencer now. My husband and I pretty much make a living by creating failed attempts at sponsored posts. I'm very involved in all of my children's lives in the 9 months before they're born. My parents are so involved, so hands-on. I think that's where Josh learned it from too, because we all know Josh can be a little handsy, right? So yeah. Babe. One of my favorite parenting tips that I learned from my parents is that when we were out and about, they would yell Nike. That is when we would look down at our shoes, cover our eyes, because it was usually some woman, some whore tramp, hooker walking by with a low-cut top or pants or a pixie haircut, tank tops, high heels, or as my dad refers to them as lady of the night whore bag shoes. So basically any woman outside of our family we couldn't look at all. So, did I tell you I dyed my hair blonde? Yeah, none of us girls went to college or would ever dare to even think to go to college. Only satanic rituals occur at colleges and universities. Okay, satanic rituals of equality. Because of how structured and Bible-focused our homeschooling was, there really was no time to learn about health or the human anatomy. Our education of the female anatomy didn't really go past a naked Barbie doll. All my life, I thought men and women were the same down there. So I was a little surprised on my wedding night. Kind of traumatized too, but what else? Babe, you put that middle finger down, babe. We do have a special control on all of our computers which blocks access to ungodly things like Disney movies or forward-thinking ideas like independence and interracial relationships. We do not want to mess with those practices or alternative lifestyles. Babe. I think I'm on track to have 200 grandbabies by the end of this year, so this is my best angle. One of my husband's favorite nicknames to call me is Wench. I think it's short for sand wench. I think it's because my favorite food is sandwiches. Even though it's not really, I think he thinks my favorite food is sandwiches. Only savages raise their children. We train our children, okay? We train them like dogs. We don't abuse them, only mentally, but not physically.